Hello, Paul Pluta channel. This is a paid review because I don't do shit for free. $20 for a paid review. You can send a little bit more as a donation, a little bit extra. Come on, guys, work with me, not against me. I'm doing a paid review. Please like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your dickhead friends, and don't forget, look in the description for 10 ways you can keep me full-time on YouTube. This is for Ken. This is for Ken. And Ken says to me, Arch, you are great. I just sent you $20 US via PayPal I originally was going to ask you a Rolex question, but instead, here is my Omega question. What year and or model should I look for, and what should I pay for an Omega Man on the Moon Speedmaster, used of course. Also, where would you suggest I look on the internet for such a purchase? Thanks. I'll have a legit Rolex question once I've put away a bit of scratch for my next Rolex. Thank you. Kind regards, Ken. Well, Ken, thank you so much for asking Archie, the online horological expert. So, what do I recommend? Now, this is an interesting question. There are so many Speedmasters you can go for. If you are a vintage collector, obviously with the 3-2-1 movement, that is a great piece. They're getting very few and far between, very collectible, very expensive. I think the horse has bolted on that one. So they are very, very, very collectible. The other ones that are very collectible are the 1969, where they had a certain type of case back. They're very collectible. There's quite a number of collectible versions, but in more modern times, they changed from a 861 movement to a 1861 movement, and that change there, basically, you can tell, well, the movement number is it's a 1861, and it's a white metal rhodium plated type movement there. So the question is, what should you get? What do I recommend? And to be honest with you, there are no bad Omega Speedmasters. There are no baddies. There are no baddies here. I personally, I kind of like newish Speedmasters. I like newish, you know, with that newish gleam to them. I really love newish sort of stuff, box papers sort of thing. So 10-year-old. And yet again, I gotta tell you, you can get the vintage ones with the 861 movement, like early 90s. They're actually edging up a bit compared to the 1861. So I honestly would say to you, it depends. Do you want one as a collectible, a vintage type collectible, or do you want a more modern one? Personally, myself, I like blingy, newish sort of ones. I kind of, you know, my Speedmaster is from the noughties. To give you an idea, what did it cost me? I paid 3.7 Aussie, Australian, for a 10-year-old 2007 Speedmaster Man on the Moon box papers. It had the smaller red box papers. What's that in US? That's about, it's high twos US. Was it a bargain? Well, I bought that 12 months ago. Maybe even longer. Is it a bargain? No, but I think it was fair price. Fair price. Prices on Omegas have come down a bit. I've got to be honest with you. I then had one I tried to sell secondhand on the channel, and I couldn't sell it. So they are a bit soft. I'm hearing that Omega, I don't buy new, okay? I don't buy new. I'm a secondhand. I've seen some amazing prices. I had a friend in Australia who bought one from a dealer in Australia for four and a half after tax back. So he paid $5, but it was the new one with the big box. It had the NATO Omega strap. It also had a leather Omega strap with Omega steel deployant. 4.5 after tax back. That's amazing price. I had another fan who knows somebody who works at Omega Boutique, and they told me they could get one for under 4 Aussie, and I said, "Woo! Under 4 Aussie for a newish Speedy? That's Australian dollars. That's low threes US." I said, that is amazing. That is an amazing buy. Grab it. Grab it. Grab it. If you can get it for that price, grab it. By all means, grab it. So, wouldn't you say what year? I kind of think the sweet spot would be 10 years old. But some of the new ones, if you haggle really hard, my advice to you would be to get one on a bracelet. I think you're much better off to have it on a bracelet than to have it on a leather strap. That kind of, I'm just saying to you, because you can never get that bracelet at a reason. They're going to screw you over down the track there. So what year? I would say anything. 90s, 2000s. All Speedies are great. All Speedies are great. The older ones are, depending on condition and that, they're quite expensive. So what year? I reckon the sweet spot as a usable piece for just a person who's just going into the hobby, I would say a 10-year-old one would be ideal. What year and what model? Well, it's the Omega Speedmaster Professional Man on the Moon, the manual wind with the Halcyon glass. That's what you want. Also, where would you suggest I look on the internet for such a purchase? Well, you would always go Chrono 24. That's where a lot of, that's kind of like retail secondhand. See if you can find a dealer that's local. It's much better to pay a wee bit more to get one from a dealer who's local than to buy one from someone who's over the other side of the world. So that's seriously what I would be doing. What do you need to pay? That's a good question. What do you need to pay for these Speedies? That is a great question. I'm just going to move my stand over here. I'm going to plug it in here so I can do some currency conversion to give you up-to-date pricing information. So let me just get my currency guide up here. Let's have a look here. So what did I pay? Well, I paid 3,700 Aussie dollars, which in US, that was 2,900 American. Now, I told you, a friend of mine, after he got the tax back, he got it for 4,400 Australian, which is like 3.5 US. I don't know how easy that is to get. Another friend reckons they could get it for a bee's dick under 4 Aussie. I don't know whether that was without the tax, which is about 3 US. Now, I never seen them that cheap. That might be a staff discount. But if we go on to Chrono 24, Omega, all you got to do is just type Omega Speedmaster Professional. It's the professional, right? That's all you have to type in. So it's the manual wind, Halcyon Moon, Omega Speedmaster Professional Moon Watch. Just type that in and it'll come up. Avoid the coaxial one. You want the manual wind. Now let's just have a look. Low to high. What are they going for on Chrono? Now, there are a few different versions of Speedmaster, so you want the one that's the manual wind. But here we go. We've got one in Japan, in Ginza, 2.5 US, which is not bad. Ignore the Russian sellers there. I quite like the broad arrow, I must say. I do like the broad arrow. The broad arrow, now, the one in Ginza, no box or papers, watch only. Just taking a look at it. It's a really nice example. 2.5 US. Okay. That's not bad. So you now the broad arrow is a little bit more, 2,800 US. That's quite a nice model. If we look for a US seller, $29.90. That's $3,000 for a US seller who has a. That's Wingate. Wingate's quality watches. Wingate's is a Bob Wingate. He's a great guy. He's a really nice guy. That is a. I'm not sure that's the latest. No, that's pretty good. $3,000. Actually, that's an Apollo 11 first watch on the moon. That's not a bad piece, actually. It's got the display back on that one. $3,000, just $29.90, just under $3,000. I think that's reasonable buying. There's quite a few, so that's the sort of range there. So I would be looking at Chrono 24, getting an idea of what you're going to get. $3,000 US seems to be the mark on the second-hand market. You'll get a decent one. That's not bad buying for a classic iconic watch. Hey, you can't go wrong with that. So there's a bit of advice. I'm Paul Pluta. Paul Pluta on the Paul Pluta channel. Tell me what you guys think of that.